Hello, beautiful soul family. My name is Monica. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a good minute since I have been on here, and a few videos ago I had said that if I'm kind of absent from YouTube for like a few weeks at a time, that it most likely means that I am in the middle of manifesting something pretty big. And this is also the case now, since I haven't been making very many videos, except for, in this case, I wasn't the one who directly manifested something, it was my husband. So I wanted to hop on here for this video to share his manifestation story because I have been coaching him with the law of attraction in a way, because once I started learning about the law of attraction a few years ago, he had asked me to keep sharing with him the things that I've learned. So I just give him the same advice that I would take for myself or I would give to someone else who's trying to manifest something, whatever it is. But first off, I just want to say thank you so much to all of the new subscribers. I noticed that even when I'm not making very many videos, I'm still getting, a good amount of subscribers. So I'm very grateful for you being here. And thank you so much to all you OG subscribers who've been here with me since the beginning or whenever you found me before now. In this video, I also just wanted to give a life update, what I've been up to since I haven't been here on YouTube very much, just to kind of share something personal and let you guys know what's going on with me. So in one of my more recent videos, I mentioned that I was stressed because my husband was stressed from his job, and that at one point they had him working 12 days in a row, 12 hours a day, without a break in any of those days. So every single day he would complain to me about how much he was disliking his job and how stressed he was. And with us living in an RV, we're very close together and we're both together all day long in the same small space. So it can get very intense when one of us is going through something stressful. So things kept escalating after that. They weren't really getting better. They were actually getting worse for him. So he was very unhappy, and I had told him, as he was complaining to me again, just quit. That's what I kept saying. Every time he complained to me, my response was just quit. And I had said this every day for like a week, and he would give me every reason in the book why he thought he couldn't quit. And so I reasoned with him and said, you know what, we have a good amount of savings where you can take a break from working before you find another job, and you will manifest another job. Like, I know you can do it, especially because recruiters are constantly reaching out to him from different companies, and it's work within his field. He works in computers, and they're always asking if he would like to interview for certain positions. So I wasn't worried at all because I knew we had enough savings for at least a year of neither of us working, and I knew that he was going to have job opportunities without even looking. So for most people, I would not suggest ever quitting your job if you don't have some kind of a backup plan. Like if you don't, I wouldn't suggest doing it if you don't have like a savings, or if you don't have another job lined up, or if you don't have maybe a place you can stay for free, like if you can live with your parents, or someone will help you out. I think it's best to not get into a situation where you're going to be even more stressed if you don't have a job. But definitely I would suggest to anyone to start manifesting a new job while you're in your current job if you feel like you can't leave it. So when he finally warmed up to the idea, he was going to wait a couple of weeks before putting in his notice because he was waiting on like a big bonus check for stock options or something like that. And you have to be there through a certain date before you can actually receive them. And so he wanted to wait until they were in our account before putting in his notice, which I think was very smart because that actually added to our savings as well. As the date approached that he was about to put in his notice, he was super nervous, which I understand because I always get nervous before I quit a job because it almost feels like a breakup. It's very awkward. And he was very nervous about quitting without having another job, even though we had the savings and it was going to take care of us and we're going to be okay, because it's just something that he had never thought to do, and it's kind of unconventional, I guess. It's not what he had learned growing up, so it just made him very uncomfortable, but he knew he had to leave. He was so relieved when he finally put in his 2 weeks and after he was done, because he was so burnt out from working so much overtime. And it was a job that was very unfulfilling for him as well. And during these 2 months, we have been living like we're on vacation full time. And if you don't know, we live and travel full time in our RV, going different places throughout the US. And we do this anyways when he was working. But one of the other issues is that our full-time RVing was our dream. And what we needed was for him to find a job that he could do remotely so that we could travel. But then it became he was working so much that we weren't able to actually go out and see the places that we wanted to see and go explore and do the things that we wanted to do, which really defeated the purpose of this lifestyle. And what I mean by we lived like we were on vacation, without him working, we were sleeping in every day and kind of staying up late, and we were just having a lot of fun. Like, we went to a lot of different places, including Yellowstone National Park, which is a place I've always wanted to go. And I might insert a few pictures here. We also went to Grand Teton National Park, which is just gorgeous. And if you want to see our travels and if you like nature photography, make sure you're following me on Instagram. I post my best pictures from our travels on there. I don't typically show much here on the YouTube channel. We've also been visiting friends. We visited my family. We're about to visit his family, and we have just been super busy, which is why I haven't been posting really at all here in the last month or so. And with traveling too, even if we're in a place for a few days with a travel day, it takes a lot of time. It is super time consuming, because our day typically starts off with waking up early, making breakfast, and then we make lunch for the road. And we don't typically do very simple things like sandwiches. We do usually salads, or we do like a chickpea salad thing. And that takes some time with cutting up vegetables and all that stuff. Not a super long time, but it's more involved than just making a PB&J. And then we clean up all of that, and then we have to pack up the entire RV. We can't have anything loose out and about. And we also have to pack up the outside. So that typically will take us on an average about 2 hours for just packing. And then another hour at least for making breakfast and eating, making lunch, walking our dogs, cleaning up, all those good things. So that is 3 hours. And then it takes about, I would say 4 to 6 hours of traveling, depending on that day, how far we have to go and how often we have to stop, or if, traffic or whatever it is. So that can take, I guess at that point, 9 hours. And then on top of that, by the time we get to our destination, we have to go and unpack everything that we had packed before, which takes another good hour at least. So it could be 10, 12 hours of just packing, unpacking, and traveling on a single day. And by the next day, I'm usually pretty tired and I don't really want to do a whole lot, but we've been just go, 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 go. We've been tourists, we've been going hiking and exploring different places and going out into nature. And like I said, hanging out with friends and family. So it's been a really, really good sort of vacation, but it wasn't a vacation in the sense of having a hotel where people clean and going out to eat a lot. I mean, we did go out to eat sometimes, but for the majority of the time, I was still cooking all of the meals and I was still cleaning up everything. And so that usually keeps me pretty busy too. So I want to say maybe a couple of weeks after my husband had quit his job, a recruiter had reached out to him from a very big computer company, and asked him if he wanted to apply for a certain position. And my husband is very particular, like he's very selective about the roles he chooses. I think because he's so smart with computers, sometimes he gets bored easily. Actually, a lot of times he gets bored easily in his jobs. So he looks for something that's a little bit more challenging. And when he saw that the description for the position they wanted him to apply for, he was actually very intrigued with it. He thought it sounded super interesting, and the pay was amazing. You know, it was still really good for what he does. I forgot to mention one of the best parts of this new job is that it is a short-term temporary contracting job, meaning that he is only contracted to work right now for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, the company can decide if they want to renew his contract for another year, and he would have to agree to do so as well. And if that happens, then he will take the following year off, because we will have more savings from the year that he worked, and then he can keep working and then taking time off and have a better work-life balance than he did before. Another major bonus is that he's not required to work much overtime, but even if he does work overtime, he will get paid time and a half, even though he's technically salaried. So with this job, he has manifested more perks and bonuses than he had originally anticipated when he started making his list of what he wanted in his next job. So even though he wasn't quite ready to start working again because he had just quit and we thought we're going to take like 6 months to a year off so that he could recoup from being burnt out, he said that the role sounded too good to pass up. So he agreed to do an interview. And the day that he did an interview, I was out and about doing errands. I was grocery shopping and doing laundry and all that stuff in town. And I told him to, call me after he was done with his interview and let me know how it went. And so he called me and he sounded very upbeat, like he sounded very excited actually about what he had heard from the role. He really liked the hiring manager that he had talked to. One of the things he was super nervous about was telling them that we live full-time and travel full-time in an RV because sometimes companies might be concerned that you don't have good internet to be able to do that, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere like we are. But we have, I think, AT&T and Verizon Wireless, and we've pretty much never had a problem with internet. I think once there was an internet outage for the towers, which can happen and has happened to his coworkers who were stationary in their homes in a city. So things are always bound to happen, but for the most part, our internet has been very reliable. So I told him, if that hiring person is not okay with our lifestyle and our situation, then it's not meant to be. But just be upfront and honest with it, at the very beginning, and it shouldn't be a problem. And he told the manager, and he was totally okay with it. He could even relate because he said he had an RV and he likes to go camping. And this was already a better start than with his last job because, especially with COVID, a lot of people everyone was working from home, and a lot of people were what I would say workaholics. Like they would work all hours of the day and night nonstop. And that was not the kind of work culture he wanted to be in, especially for our lifestyle. And they would never talk about ever going anywhere, like taking vacations or just taking time off. Like, I'm not saying everyone has to go somewhere if they take a vacation, but just taking some time off work, no one ever did. And that was kind of weird too. So it definitely wasn't a good fit for him. But with this new manager saying that he also takes time off and he kind of does similar things with traveling and going camping, it already felt like it was a much better fit work culture wise, because not everybody was working all the time, that it sounded like. So it must have been not even like half an hour later. My husband tells me I have to go. They're calling me again, the company that he had just interviewed for. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, just call me back after. And he called me back, and I kid you not, he said they want to hire me. Like, they offered me the job. And I was just like, It's only been half an hour. That's crazy. I mean, I've gotten hired on the spot before, but typically at like retail stores and restaurants, places with high turnover, not for like a huge, corporation or something like that, like within, being a computer person. So I just thought that was like insanely fast. They had been looking for someone for a few months at this point, and they really were impressed by him. And my husband's the type to always tell future employers that he wants to think about the offer for 24 hours before accepting, even when he knows he's going to accept it. That's just a thing he does. He likes to sleep on it, he says. And with this one, he just said yes right away. And he just felt like it was a good fit. He followed his intuition instead of overanalyzing it. And I was so proud of him for doing that. That's like that's something that is not can be easier said than done for most people. Even for myself, sometimes I have trouble with following my heart and not just always listening to all the chaos that goes on in my head instead. So we talked about it after he told me. I was really excited, congratulated him, and I was just telling him that I was so proud of him because I know that he is super frugal. He loves to save. He's definitely a saver, which is awesome. That's what got us in this position in the first place, where he was able to take time off and be able to rest up. And I thought he would be very stressed out about money while he wasn't working and we were just on savings, but he really just let go of that fear of that lack mentality of not having enough and being afraid that he wasn't going to get another job and that we were going to run out of money or something. And we pretty much lived exactly like how we were living before. We don't live extravagantly for the most part. We don't buy a lot of expensive things or fancy things. Most of our money goes towards food because I like to buy, organic as much as I can and just healthier ingredients in food. Like I tend to look at that. So we spend a lot more money there probably. And then we just bought the new RV. So we have payments on that. We still have payments on our truck. We still have payments, okay? And then, like I said, that and food and gas, I would say, for traveling is what we spend a lot on. A lot of the places that we camp are free. A lot of the places that we visit are free. But during this time, we went to do some touristy things. Like we went to some museums and paid like, $10-15 a piece for that or something. And still had a lot of fun. It almost felt like nothing had changed. It didn't feel like he didn't have a job anymore. It just felt like we were just living life, the way that we had always before, and it felt really good. And I didn't feel stressed at all, which was nice, and neither did he. And I think ultimately he had let go of that fear of not finding another job. And he, like I said, he let go of the lack mentality. I think he really started to realize his self-worth and his self-value, and that he deserved better. That he didn't have to stay stuck at a job that he hated. That if he did do that, that was a choice. And he has a choice to leave as well. And because he let go of all the attachments around these things, the job was attracted to him. He never reached out to these people. They reached out to him. They did a lot of the work. And he just had to interview and do some paperwork and talk to a few people. And both of us were still in shock. We're like, this happened so quickly. This happened so synchronistically. It's happened with such minimal effort. And even though I have known about and practiced the law of attraction for years now, I am still amazed when I see how things manifest. How the things that we put on our list manifest, and how quickly they can manifest sometimes when you really are able to let go of all those attachments. Oh, and one more thing I forgot about. During the time that he was complaining when I was telling him to just quit from the very beginning, he would constantly keep telling me about things that he hated about his old job. He would tend to repeat the same things that would annoy him. So I would keep stopping him and saying, okay, I get it. I understand you. I hear you. I know what you don't like and what you don't want. So now tell me, what is it that you actually want? Let's take the focus. Let's shift the focus from what you hate and what you don't like about this job and focus on what you like and what you want in a future job. That's where we need to put that energy for manifestation. Because if you keep putting all that energy on the things you don't like about your old job, then that's what it's going to keep manifesting. You're going to keep experiencing those things and you're going to feel like you're stuck here. But if you start focusing on the new and what you actually want, ask yourself what you want, make a list. Let's talk about that. And then he did start to shift his focus and we did start to talk about what he did want. And every time he would revert back to complaining about the same old things, I'd be like, okay, let's talk about the new things that you want. And that is a huge key component with the law of attraction, is where what you focus on grows. Where attention goes, energy flows. And that's how you start building and attracting your desires that you're trying to manifest. All right, you guys, that is everything I wanted to say, I think, in this video. I try to go as detailed as possible from what I can remember. And just, like I said, I wanted to tell you about the new manifestation that also affects me and something that I helped with. And then about just my life update, what we've been doing, where we've been traveling, all that kind of good stuff. And I have more videos planned in the future. I'm keeping them written down so I don't forget, and I will get to them very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.